Hey guys, this is Hee-Haw with Dark Moon Cards and Games. I am still here, haven't gone anywhere. I obviously, by the size of this channel, you can see that we don't rely on this as a stream of revenue. We just do this because we believe in sharing ideas and still love this card game. So we like to put out there anything that we can kind of come up with to try to keep it interesting. I've been away from YouTube for a multitude of reasons. Of course, I got the coof back in August, and that was followed up by a couple weeks of pneumonia, so that kind of took me out of the circulation of everything for a few weeks. And then that was followed by a huge slate of shows, so we've been very busy with our business. And all of that combined to really put us behind the 8-ball on Evolving Skies. I'm still actually opening some stuff, trying to get full playsets of a few things. Getting an Umbreon VMAX apparently is one of the most difficult things in the game at the moment. I think I have one. But anyway, without the full supply of cards, that has delayed kind of brainstorming some deck ideas and then of course play testing them to make them work. But all in all, I don't feel too bad about being delayed on all of that, because Play Pokemon is still not holding events and will not hold any for the rest of the year. Even though I watched Japan have their national championships, and it's like most of the rest of the world outside of Australia is still trying to move ahead with life. Meanwhile, here we are being held hostage by liars and political activists, and that's all I'm going to say on that, because this is about Pokemon, not the imaginary world created by Twitter that we all live in. So with all that being said, I am going to get on with today's video. This is going to be a little different than most of the ones that you have seen here. I'm not going to take up any time with videos of games, because I kind of trying to play catch up. I just want to get through some deck ideas. So today I'm actually going to show you 3 different ones that all kind of function off of the same engine. And it's one that I'm still kind of curious that it hasn't appeared in the format so much. But these are all going to be decks that work off of... Let's open this guy. Off of this little dude, off of Flaaffy. Flaaffy is basically just a renamed reprint of a card from back in the day when our kids were little. That was the electric part of the Electros line that had the exact same ability. It was an electric type, did the exact same thing, lets you attach an electric energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. We saw that resurface again with Malamar as a psychic version. I think with the track record of both of those guys as a basis for decks, it's too good of an engine to not use. I understand right now the issue with Flaaffy is going to basically be because of one other card. Pull that up here, and that is the Rapid Strike Urshifu. And his G-Max Rapid Flow, let's see, you can see there, he lets you shoot 120 to 2 different Pokemon at once, and that obviously means with no bench protection, which is really the issue with Flaaffy right now. Then once you get 2 of them set up, you can just shoot them both and kill them. So without any bench protection like we had from the Mew, I think it was part of Unified Minds, I forget what set that was from, but anyway. That obviously is a major weakness for this deck. But with that being said, Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is not dominating the format right now from what I see in online tournaments by any means. He obviously is probably the one threat to any deck that works around a Flaaffy build, but it doesn't seem like that is a constant threat. What I've been seeing in the last few tournaments is a very healthy mix of decks, which keeps doors open to unique ideas, hopefully like some of these I'm getting ready to show you. Alright, so first up we are going to get into, well, it's a pretty unique deck, but I think it's a pretty fun, and seems to be pretty competitive, the little bit that I've messed around with it so far. That's going to be Dracozolt VMAX. We will open this guy up, and before I get into this one too, I didn't really want to go into a full profile of it because I'm sure it's been done, but if you did notice, as I was looking at Flaaffy there a minute ago, you can see my version of Rayquaza VMAX in the background, so feel free to check that out. That is a kind of a bonus 4th list available. But let's get on with this one. And again, this is a Flaaffy deck centered around Dracozolt VMAX. Dracozolt can be played, I think, 2 different ways. One, he has that 200 damage max impact attack that can be used to 2-shot things. And just kind of be aggressive with it, or you can kind of play a longer game with Spark Trap It does 60 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, it doesn't matter from who. If they switch, as long as he stays active, the Dracozolt stays active. You put 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So in effect, kind of retroactive 180 damage for 1 energy is pretty crazy. He has like 330 HP, he's got good stats. Weak to fighting, of course, which technically should probably be weak to ground. In that way, Urshifu wouldn't slaughter it. But that's just the way the card game is, and have to deal with that. He does evolve from Dracozolt V. Pretty standard numbers on him, too. Primeval Beak is actually interesting. It's only 30 damage, but during your opponent's next turn, energy cards cannot be attached to the defending Pokemon. So if they evolve or switch, it negates that, but if they can't, it can slow them up. And 180, and having to discard 3 cards from your own deck. It's kind of one of those things you hope you don't have to do, but I guess you can when you have to. So this is pretty much going to be a skeleton type list that you're going to see throughout the other decks. Not too much is going to change. There'll be a couple tweaks between cards. You got 2 Crobat V, and then 2 Boltund V, which again, in all of these decks I'm showing you, this is an alternate to a faster way to get energy out to start with, and then Flaaffy can be used to kind of recover it. Electrify. Search your deck for 2 lightning energies, attach them to one of your bench Pokemon any way you like. And Bolt Storm, I think in this deck, is probably more relevant than it is in the other ones I will show you as we go. Because Dracozolt does not discard energy, so you can kind of store it. It will build up as the game goes on, so Boltund becomes a pretty good backup attacker. Run 2 copies of that, 4 Dracozolt Vs, 3 VMAXs, then I have, of course, a 4/4 line of Mareep and Flaaffy. I think that's going to be the same throughout all of these as well. Got 2 Evolution Incense, 2 Level Ball, 4 Quick Ball. Pretty good combo, pretty consistent to get everything out. 2 switches there. The other thing that kind of makes the consistency part solid is the Stormy Mountains. Once during each player's turn, you may search your deck for either a basic Lightning or a basic Dragon Pokemon, which works for Rayquaza. If you go back and look at that list, but it's going to work for this deck because it's pretty much everything but Crobat. You wouldn't want to do Crobat anyway because that would negate the ability. You got 2 bosses, Orders, and then Cheryl is in this list. I think it's in maybe the Pikachu VMAX list as well. I don't remember if I put it in the other ones. But it's very relevant here because you do have this 1 energy attack from Dracozolt VMAX. Again, if you kind of want to go the long way with this guy, where you're just kind of spamming the Spark Trap attack and just trying to dare your opponent to come at you, you can take your shot from them. Then you can play Cheryl and heal off whatever damage they do to you, assuming you survive. And you're only discarding 1 energy off of him, which you can just simply reattach. Also, kind of around the back door, gets energy into the discard pile for your Flaaffys to charge up a second guy. And that really probably is the way that you would play this. Let me get through the rest of this list real quick. Got 3 Marnies for research. 2 Air Balloon, going to be more like a Boltund tool to put on, and maybe on a Flaaffy or a Crobat, just so after a knockout or something like that, you've got somebody you can send up in free retreat with. Not so good on the Dracozolt because he does retreat for 3, and you'll see why. Also, you want to kind of reserve this for him. It's just a good old Rocky helmet it's been around several times through several sets. Back in Vivid Voltage, you got its reprint here. You just if somebody attacks you, does damage, you put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. That just gives you 2 more to add on to Dracozolt. So he already hits back with 12. That makes it 14. So that makes it an even 200 that you put back on your opponent if they have to attack this Dracozolt. So if nothing else, it's going to be a good damage exchange for you, or they're going to waste a lot of resources trying to figure out how not to attack this guy. Then you've got just 12 lightning energies. That's going to be pretty standard, I think, through these lists too. 12 to 13 energies. Going back to the Cheryl and the Dracozolt there. As far as strategy goes, The way I have been playing this is you do just kind of start with him, you start spark trapping, setting up everything else along your bench just as you go, not taking too many chances, not burning too many resources, getting a couple Flaaffies up, and then getting another Dracozolt VMAX ready. And then from that point, you can use him dealing out 200 damage, or whatever your damage count gets up to with Bolton. Kind of makes this a multi-threat deck, and they have to really choose what to go after. The other bonus with Cheryl is that if they're trying to snipe down your Flaaffies with Inteleon, of course if they hit them with Urshifu, they're dead, but if they're trying to do it with Inteleon, you can heal that damage off if you play it at the right time, because it does heal every evolution Pokemon that you have in play that has damage counters on them. So only 2 Cheryls in there. Maybe will be something to look at down the road with this list. Maybe a way to get Cheryl back, Palpat or Eldegoss or something like that. I don't like Eldegoss as much because bench space is kind of at a premium when you get into these decks that use multiple Flaaffies. Pretty much all the list I'm going to show you today are that way. So we've just got that at 2 right now. That's something to consider as you go. Very fun deck list. Not super complicated. It's pretty much either sit back and play the I Dare You game, or just try to set up as fast as you can and 2-hit things. You got multiple attackers you can use. So that is a look at the first of our Flaaffy deck lists. And again, we, as I said earlier, I wanted to just kind of show you three decks that kind of work off of the same engine. So I'm going to go to deck number 2. Probably more of a fun deck, because I do see a lot of single strike Urshifu out there as well, which would pretty much nuke this thing. But this is a fun deck to mess around with. And this one's going to revolve around Blissey. Blissey is just like Bolton. He does 30 for each energy attached to him. I guess it's not exactly like Bolton. Bolton does it for wherever it is. And then 10 more on top of that. The advantage, I think, with Blissey is that he's 250, and you can drive him up to a 300 HP Pokemon. Don't think conditions are really part of the game, but you're pretty much immune from conditions with this natural cure ability. Doesn't really compile enough energy to get one-shots unless you're playing against something that is having a slow start, but you're definitely getting to 2 shots pretty quickly. So as long as you can survive 1 turn with a Blissey, you can usually stay ahead of folks. And of course the other part of Blissful Blast is you can attach up to 3 energy cards from your discard pile to this Pokemon once you do damage. So he is with Flaaffy accelerating energy. If you can get some more energy in there, obviously you can see around the corner I have a higher energy count. You can pile some energies onto this guy pretty quickly. Ran 4 copies of that. I've got 1 double in here, basically just because I think I had a spot left, and he's always a good backup attacker. I don't see him used too much, but in this deck, seemed like he would be a nice fit. 2 Crobats. Again, 3 Boltons just to get you started with this one. And again, you can kind of bounce back and forth between Bolton and Blissey in this deck if you choose to. Again, a 4/4 line of Mareep and Flaaffy. And I went in and threw in this 1 Regieleki. Regieleki doesn't really do anything amazing in this, but I do like the being able to hit the bench with his attack as well. I don't think he'll ever live through a turn once you put him into play, but he seems like maybe if you do just barely miss something, he's a way you might be able to clean something up with 120 off of Terra Spark, and then you discard all the energy to him, and he does 40 to 2 guys on their bench. So I think he's worth including there. Then down the line, 4 Level Ball, 4 Quick Ball, 2 Switches. I kept the Stormy Mountains, even though it doesn't help you get the colorless guys out of here, but it's really good at helping you just get started, getting that line of Flaaffy going early. 2 Boss's Orders. I don't think I need to say anything else about that. There's 4 Marnie, 4 Research, and the kind of in this one, the air balloons kind of put them in a different place. I usually put them on the Flaaffies just to be able to retreat, or even Crobat. Works pretty good on Boltund as well, so you can electrify with him and then just retreat and keep your energy attached instead of having to pay the retreat cost. So then the Cape of Toughness, of course, is here for Blissey. You can throw him on Boltund too, but I don't think it really gets Boltund out of range. But it does drive Blissey up to 300 HP. There obviously are multiple Pokemon that can get through where they hit for more than that and can one-shot this guy. And of course, anything fighting is going to hit him for weakness and one-shot him. But there are a lot of decks that are going to miss him. Some of them just barely, but just barely is all you need. So Cape of Toughness is a key there. And I could probably try to drive that up to 4, maybe by dropping like a Stormy Mountains or something. I've just been playing it with 3 right now because, especially in the trading card game online, you know how they like to give you ridiculously stupid hands. When you get 4 ofs in this deck, or pretty much in any deck, I just don't want to have an opening hand with 4 Capes of Toughness, so that seems to keep that from happening as much. Then 13 Electric Energies, because again, this deck you're using a combination of using Flaaffy and Blissey's attack, trying to just pile energy on like crazy as fast as you can. So wanted a little bit more energy to be able to do that. And I think this is actually that is the same amount of energy that's in the Rayquaza deck. It's just pure lightning, no fire. So another deck to consider. Definitely fun to play around with. And let's get to our third deck. So our third and final deck of our Flaaffy, our focus on Flaaffy here is going to be my favorite, of course. And that is going to be Pikachu VMAX. And if anybody tells you this is no good, then just laugh at them, build this, and beat them with it. That's the easiest way to make somebody be quiet. Pikachu VMAX, 310 HP, weak to fighting, of course. There's obviously the 2 Urshifus out there make this a little more challenging. The G-Max Volt Tackle does 120, and if you want to discard your energy, you can make him do 270, so 150 more. I like that combination because you can get this set up pretty quickly. Sometimes you can knock something out with the 120 and not have to actually do the other. And this is basically just a 1-2 punch with this thing too. If you're going to try to set up 2 Pikachu VMAXs and just bounce back and forth between them, or you can keep recharging them with Flaaffy, and again hope that consistency wins the day, because that's what this deck does. We'll go all the way across the line here again. Again, this is very much like the other builds. 2 Crobats. Only did 2 Boltund Vs in this, which again, not a bad starter, not a bad backup attacker. Pikachu Vs, even though they're different pitchers, they actually do the same thing. Not terrible. He can do 200 for Thunderbolt. I guess if you get stuck with him active and you have to do charge, you can. If you can live through that turn that follows, more power to you. That's probably good for you if you can, but maybe not as likely because he's only 190 HP. So 4 of those guys, 3 VMAXs down the line. I've got 2 Evolution Incense, 2 Level Ball, Full Life Quick Ball, 3 switches here because you do need the bounce back and forth, definitely with these Stormy Mountains. Amazing in this deck because it lets you get all parts of it except for the VMAX, but lets you get started there. 2 Bosses Orders, and then I did 2 Cheryls because when you do choose to hit with Pikachu, you're discarding your energy anyway. So you have a chance to heal it off and not have to throw any energy. Biggest thing with that is just make sure that you don't have energy on your other Pikachu VMAX before you do this, because it hits everybody that has any damage on them and heals them. It's anybody that's evolved. So kind of nice because if somebody's trying to snipe down your Flaaffys as well with Inteleon, then you can heal them that way. But again, just have to be careful when you play that you do things in the right order. Wait, attach your energies after you do this, or otherwise you'll get all set up and heal everybody and knock all of your energy off and be sitting there with a big fat Pikachu with no energy to do anything. Just kind of the story of my life. But anyway, there are 3 Marnies for research. 4 Air Balloons. I want the full line there because again, Air Balloon lets Pikachu VMAX retreat for free. And again, the strategy is here, set 2 of these guys up and bounce back and forth between them. Heal them when you can with Cheryl. Super fun deck, much better than you probably think, so give this one a try as well. So I know this video is kind of outside of the format that we have generally been doing, but I'm trying to sort of play catch up here. As you can see, I have 207 decks now that are into sort of a dead zone. Because of rotation, I haven't had a chance to go through and try to update what I can update, and I've only got 31 decks up to standard format. So I may try to do another video with maybe just a look at 2 or 3 decks, maybe in a fourth if I can squeeze them in and keep it brief enough. Just give you some deck lists and try to get caught up on the new sets and the format at the moment, and then I can try to get back to demonstrating some decks with games for you guys as well. But let me know if you prefer one way or the other, if you'd like to see the gameplay, or if you just want to see some deck list and discussion on those. I'd be glad to try to do either. But until next time, this has been Hee-Haw with Dark Moon Cards and Games. Be not afraid. Later.